Hello, everybody. Welcome to first time home buying seminar. And we want to give a special welcome to all our online audience. So I'm going to take a few moments to just welcome the online audience, and then your speakers and resource persons who are ready to answer your questions and also to tell you what you need to do. We will also speak to you. So let's go online and let's find out who is online now. And let's welcome a few of our people online. Then we can go ahead and start. All right. Let's go online and let's find out who is. Let's see. Okay, we already have 16 people online. So let's see who online. So let us know where you're watching from, the state or the city you're watching from. Like I said earlier, today we are going to be discussing how to buy a home without sweat. And I have three wonderful experts here who will be helping you navigate through the process. And you can ask them any question you want to ask. So let's go ahead and welcome those online. We want to welcome Dorena Bana Harris. We want to welcome you. Hey, Naya, thanks, from Maryland. We also want to know the city if it's possible. Who else online? I see Ashley and Margaret Ampofo. Welcome, Winfred Abuaji. You're welcome online. So whilst you're coming online, what you wanted to do is also go ahead and share this video quickly so that as many people as possible will be able to tap into this wealth of wisdom, and that is going to come your way this morning. We want to welcome Ejewar and welcome Emilia Waldorf. Wow. Hi, Emilia. How are you doing? Just keep coming in, keep coming in, keep coming in. We're waiting for you to come in. Share the video quickly. Share it quickly. Share the video quickly. Share the video. We want to get at least from 50 people watching now. So we can start. Hello, Fuejewa. Hello, back to you. Hello. So share the video, inbox somebody and WhatsApp somebody with the link so they can join us. Hi, Joyce from Abana, Winfred from Gettysburg. Welcome. Hey, Vivian. Want to welcome you. All right. So you have three wonderful people here today who will be speaking to you. And like I said earlier, it's all about buying a home, whether you're buying for yourself or for investment, whatever. They are here. They got it all covered. They're going to speak to you and they're going to guide you and they're going to give you some directions here. Hello, Henrietta. Hello, Love Rabbi. Oh, Rabbi. You told me to call you Rabbi. Rabbi from Texas. Okay, hello. Araba from Hanover. Regina. Hey, Fred. You're welcome. Sam, you're most welcome. So people are just coming in from everywhere now. Hello. All right. So we have here our main host for today, Che Jima. We have Evelyn Abakah. We also have Michelle Stringer. Did I pronounce it right, Michelle? All right. So
yes, you did.
I did. So I'm gonna now let Che take over and tell you all what they're about this morning. And whilst that is going on, you should be shooting your questions. You have them here now. Shoot your questions, the loan process, getting financing, shoot your process, buying a home, the things you need to know. All right. So Che, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and welcome to our first time home buying seminar. I'm excited, and I'm sure you are excited as well. We are going to give you valued information about buying a home, some mistakes we've done before prior to buying a home, what the best practices are, and how to make it very easy and affordable for you. We have great people on right now joining us. Michelle, who is our lender, is going to talk about the lending process and how to get financed through, through the market. So I've been with Keller Williams for 3 years. I have been working with a lot of buyers and sellers. Over the last 18 months, I've done gross income of 7 million and over 20 transactions in the last 18 months. So even through the pandemic, we are still selling homes. Even through whatever is going on, we have a lot of buyers and sellers still looking to purchase a home and sell their home. So not taking too much time, I will introduce Evelyn to share.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Evelyn. Also, I am with Keller Williams Preferred Properties. My vision today is to give you the insights of buying, especially for the first-time home buyers. You know, owning gives you a sense of pride and ownership. And of course, we cannot attach price to the subjective value. It actually varies from person to person. But there are three mysteries that when you speak with people about owning a home, they are concerned about. The first is down payment. The biggest hurdle is coming up with the cash for down payment. Here's the good news that I have for you today. Many programs exist to help first-time home buyers. There are state and county grant programs that need not to be repaid. It is a grant, so why not take advantage of it? Studies indicate that there is a lot of down payment assistance. I was reading and I realized that about 2,000 and 2,900 grant assistance programs are available across the United States of America. But here's the catch. The type of loan you get determines the down payment required. Lenders are in a better position to advise you on the best programs. There are some programs that, let's say if you're a veteran, you may not even be required to pay down payment. The best thing to do is to speak with a lender. The other thing that people come up with is credit. They're concerned. My credit is bad. I am concerned. I may not be qualified. There are several things that the lenders look out when it comes to your credit with home purchase. The minimum credit score that you will need depends on the type of mortgage you'll be qualified for. The best way also is to ensure that you are talking to a qualified person, and that's why we have Michelle here today. You know, there's one thing I realized, the things that we are concerned about sometimes are not even the things that they're looking at. For those that already have credit challenges, the lender can make recommendations on things that you would want to do to improve the credit. We're honored again to have Michelle, who will later talk to us about it. But here's one advice. If you plan to buy in the next 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, the time to initiate the loan is now. The good news is that interest rates are at a record low, and I entreat you to take advantage of it. Because after COVID, now that the country is opening up a little bit, they will definitely increase the interest rate. I'm working with a buyer who I was thinking she was going to get about 4% interest rate, but no, she got 3.65% interest rate. That's great. The third thing that I get is, do I really need a real estate agent? Yes, you do. Whether you are a first-time home buyer or a seasoned homeowner who's been around the home buying and selling blocks a few times, it's good. It's a good thing to have the real estate because of our expertise and our ability to stick with the deadlines and a lot of things. You definitely need somebody who's looking out for you. You need to be represented in this major transaction of your life. You know, when you visit this new home development, sellers are looking out for the interest of the builder. And new home buying especially is very complicated and intimidating than even a resale. So you want to be represented. I have a personal experience. In the early 2000s, I bought a home in Virginia. And I made quite a few mistakes, and it's my passion that other people don't make the same mistakes. Initially, we were two friends who decided to buy the house. And then this friend's fiancé decided to move out of state. And so after we had submitted our offer, she backed out. Now, I wanted to back out, but my real estate agent will not let me back out. My concern was that, okay, we chose a specific home and now the other party is not available. Do I choose a different home or do I stay with it? And he insisted that I stay with it. And so I stayed. I was a newbie. I had not read much about it. I didn't know a lot about it. Here's the other mistake that I did. This home that I bought was developer, a new developer. And apparently I was dealing with someone who had already purchased the thing. So mine was a resale. By the time they were done building the house had appreciated $30,000. And so that was the equity. But you know what? I did not get that because I ended up buying from somebody who had already purchased from the new developer. This is another mistake that I made. And so today I entreat that you definitely need an agent, one who has expertise and who has also been there on that road before to really assist you. The agent knows the community. We're able to pull competitions in the area. Let's say if I saw a house 2 days ago and the house had been on the market for 160 days. And I was wondering why the house was on the market for that long. I checked and everything looked fine. Here's why: it was overpriced. So if you don't have a good and a competent real estate agent, she will make you put an offer on a house that is overpriced. And you will buy something that before you move in, you're already in debt. You don't want that. You need somebody who's going to come up with a competition and come up with a good rate, negotiate well for you, prepared to offer the negotiations. I had somebody who says, oh, I can find a house on Zillow. Yes, you can find a lot of houses on Zillow. The Zillow homes, sometimes by the time you get to it, the house had already expired. Now, those who actually listed never went back to delete or change the status. So you're seeing it as pending, but in reality, it is expired. Jima and I are here to help you out. There are benefits in owning a home than renting. And I will hand it over to Jima, who will dig deep into the benefits of owning. Jima.
All right, thank you, Evelyn, for sharing that experience. It's awesome, great experience. Also, whilst Evelyn was sharing her experience, makes me think more about some of the mistakes that I made, and I'm here to share with you about renting versus owning a home. All right, so I would like to share my screen. I think I had a little issue here with the screen that went off to share with you the numbers as far as renting versus owning, okay? So just bear with me for 1 second. All right. All right, so I'm very passionate about this, all right? So, and I talk about it to my friends and family every day. And if you are very close to me, you will know how much I'm dedicated to helping people buy a home, right? So $1,700 per month in rent. This is statistics, facts, and not just opinion, on average in Maryland area. So that would get you about 2-bedroom home. Now, 5% increase in rent over the time of 5 years, you are paying over $89,000 in rent. Okay, take a look at that number, $89,000 in rent. Net equity gain, what do you get? Zero. So once 5 years comes, once you're ready to move out, you have zero to show. So what happens when you are renting? What happens when you're ready to move out? They get your security deposit, and after 5 years, of course, there's going to be a lot of wear and tear in the house. Do you get that money back? If you are lucky, you get half of it. If you are lucky, you get a little bit. Sometimes you even end up in court trying to even get the money back, or the rental property trying to sue you because you damaged something in their property. So this is why I always encourage, you throw $89,000 out of the window And this could be more, especially some people rent for over $2,000 a month. And that is something that I'm so passionate about. So $89,000 in rent just thrown out. Let's look at if you are buying, right? So $1,700 will probably get you, if you use FHA, and Michelle may correct me on that one, $260,000, on average in the sales price, right? You could probably get more.
Correct.
$300,000 if you are using a VA, depending on what type of finance you're using. Now, this is statistics. 3% increase in home value. It could be more, it could be less, depending on the area. Over 5 years, your appreciation is $41,400 over 5 years. Okay, so let's be more tactical here. So when you are paying mortgage, you are not throwing money out just like you were renting. Some of that money is going to principal and interest. So say in 5 years, this is average, you pay $28,600 in 5 years on your principal. And again, if you have a 30-year mortgage, which Michelle will talk more about it, the first couple of years you pay a lot more on the interest, and then down the line, more goes towards the principal. So $28,000 plus $41,000, that's $70,000. Ladies and gentlemen, you can earn $70,000 versus losing $89,000 once if you own a property. Okay. Again, these are all averages, and you could definitely get more out of it. So where do you go? Are you going to keep renting, or are you going to have an option to talk to one of us today and decide if you want to buy? So let's deep dive. Some people are asking, how do I start the process? How do I get going? And again, we are here to give you all those information. So some of the reasons why you should buy, right? You get stable monthly payments. And again, like I said, every year you are getting an increase in rent. In mortgage, you get stable monthly payment. Your interest rate and your principal could stay the same, depending on what type of financing you get, right? So you not get that 5% increase every time. And if you are going to get an increase in your mortgage, probably taxes or insurance or HOA that may go up. So you get a stable monthly payment, you grow equity and wealth through appreciation of the property. It's cheaper to buy than to rent over time. So giving an example, 5 years ago when I purchased my property, which was 2015, for a 3-bedroom, a car garage, a basement, I was paying about $1,800, $1,900 a month. Now, I had a 2-bedroom paying $1,600. So I was paying about $250 more than when I was renting. Guess what? 2 years down the line, a 2-bedroom was costing more than $1,800. So if you want to get a 3-bedroom, you're looking at about $2,000. So I am paying less over time versus actually when I was renting. Okay, so people catch up to it. Renting catch up to the owning a home, and you also get a tax break. So you get, once you file your taxes at the end of the year, you get a tax break from paying on interest. Okay, and you build up equity through retirement, and investment. Now let's talk about this. If you own a home 30 years ago, or if you are 20 years, 30 years right now, and you decide to buy a house, depending on what type of financing you get, you could probably get a 30-year loan mortgage, or you can get 20 or 15, right? So say 30 years, when you are 60 and getting ready to retire, you probably have paid off that home. Now, once the home is paid off, you only have to pay taxes, HOA, and if you have insurance, if you have HOA. So you get to enjoy retirement. You get to do what you like to do. You get to travel all around the world. You get to do what you want to do. And it starts from today, and looking at the options of owning your own house instead of renting.
So Chair, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
So what you are saying, basically what you're saying is that if you buy a home and you live in the home, it's actually an investment you are making without knowing you are making an investment. Is that what you mean?
Very, very 100% correct. So
all right.
You make an investment for yourself, correct.
So which means that, so let's play some numbers. I buy a home for $100,000, it's $200,000, okay? I stay in the home for maybe 20 years. By the time I'm retiring, I probably have paid off the house. So which means that the $200,000 I purchased the house with, if I sell the house, I can get that money back and make more profits on it. Is that right?
Absolutely.
It's basically like a savings or savings with interest, more or less.
Absolutely. And thanks, Rev, so for saying that. I just recently sold my house. So not to be more numbers wise, I'm not going to give all those details, but like the amount of money when I did the math over 5 years, I paid towards my loan and how much I was paying every month. I paid over $90,000 over 5 years. Okay. How much I got back was more than how much I paid over 5 years. So one, I lived in the house for free. Two, I was saving money. Three, I can use that money for something else. Now, this may not apply to everybody, but again, this is very important to do that versus renting. And there's no, I'm yet to experience someone buying a home and regretting and saying that, you know, I wish I had kept on renting. Yeah.
And then that's true. And for us minorities, it's very important for us to be able to start going that route. If you want to create some wealth at the end of your own retirement, and if you want to create generational wealth and leave something for your children and all of that, it's important that you start going this direction. So go ahead and continue, Jima.
All right, thanks, Rick, for the question. All right, so how do you start? You know, and this is where we really start on working with buyers. So how do you start? Someone we might ask, you know, how do I get started? You know, how do I proceed? Who do I talk to? It's very simple. You can talk to one of us today or tomorrow. We can schedule a call and we will get you pre-approved. All right. So the basic information, getting pre-approved, you talk to the lender, they get proof of assets, income, credit, and then employment verification and all other incomes to verify how much you qualify for. Now, I've had so many experiences, you know, starting as a rookie, as an agent. I've had so many buyers that will go out, look for every home. They find one particular home they love so much. And, you know, they find out that, you know, once we talk to a lender, we cannot qualify for it, right? Your heart breaks, you get sad, and you know you can't probably afford a home. Now, the best practice is talking to the lender. Know your numbers, know how much you can qualify for, know how much your down payment will be. And if you don't have a down payment, we could figure out how to get you a down payment assistance program. So you know before looking for a house. Also, you know how much your monthly payments will be. So you're not shocked when you find a house that you qualify for, you know exactly how much your monthly payment is going to be based on that sales price and the area. So we always tell you, you know what, talk to a lender, and we have Michelle here to give us that information. And she's ever ready to help every single one of us to get pre-approved. All right, so once you get pre-approved, what happens? And you know, Evelyn talked about, you know, working with the realtor, how bad her realtor was, and you know, I'm very emotional about that. Now, someone may say, you know, I have my uncle Tom is an agent. Uncle Tom sells houses like once a year, right? Now, you work with Uncle Tom, you probably don't know the market, and what happens? That could cost you thousands of dollars. I've seen people buy houses in flat zones that they didn't probably know because Uncle Tom did not explain to them the contract and everything that was in addendums. All right. So work with a realtor that knows the community, that has credibility, that has all the expertise to help you purchase a home. Also, once you get pre-approved, you are working with the realtor looking for houses. They know what you need. Those are the first questions we ask. We find out from you, get what you need, make sure that we know exactly what you want, and we are able to help you with that. So definitely you are, you know, we know your needs, we know what you want, we know the community you want, and then we are able to go with you to find your perfect house, okay? So you get the list from us, you're able to search for homes, and that's when the fun starts, okay? Now, once you get pre-approved, we find you the perfect house. How do you determine how much to offer? All right, so your agent, again, work with a great agent, looks for similar homes, comparable homes in the market, make sure that you're not overpaying. Also taking a look at how long the property's been on the market, getting all contingencies in place for you, making sure that, you know what, you can back out of the contract if something happens. If, you know, financial doesn't go through, like Evelyn talked about, I'm not able to move forward because my partner, you know, something happened and we cannot move forward. You do not lose your earnest money deposit. And I'll talk a little bit about the earnest money deposit on my next slide. So making an offer to purchase a home, your realtor will fill out purchase agreement. We collect the earnest money deposit. Earnest money deposit, I call it skin in the game. So that's something that I usually say 1% of the sales price is telling the seller that you are serious and you are ready to go. You are more determined to buy the house. So for instance, you find another house down the street. So you know what? I don't want this house anymore. I want that one. You could lose your earnest money deposit. Or if something happens during inspection, appraisal, something with your financing happens, you are able to back out of the deal without losing your earnest money deposit. So I always say 1% put down with an incentive with the contract. All right, so we look for title companies, we determine the settlement date, and also make sure you understand the ins and outs of the contract and able to know what comes with the house, including trees, including fixtures, including everything that comes with the house. So once you write your offer, send a good offer in, and I'll tell you, out of 10 offers I write, 8 of them I'm competing with other agents. So that's why you need a great agent that's going to help you write good offers and make sure that you are also not overpaying and not using your emotions to excitement to overpay on the house, and making sure that you get the house that you really desire to have. So once your offer is accepted, we are excited, we are ready to move forward, and Evelyn takes over, right?
Thank you, Jima. But before I continue, I have a question here. Gary says, is the process the same if you want to make investment purchases? Not the same when it comes to the credit issues. So Michelle will talk about it when you're making investment purchases. The other question is, do you have a specific credit score? No, there's a lot of programs. So the credit score varies. If you're doing FHA, if you're going for conventional, it varies. You just have to speak with the lender so that you can better get you, and Michelle will help you with it. So Michelle, please address these when you are talking. One other benefit that
definitely,
Jima, I wanted to talk about was a tax advantage. That if you're doing an itemized deduction, you can actually get credit also for owning a home versus renting. Okay, so let's dig deeper into when an offer is accepted, because that's where the big thing starts. Once the offer is accepted, we schedule a home inspection, and we schedule it. We have people that have to go in there and inspect the homes. I'll talk deeper about it later. With that, you then schedule the appraisal as well. But when it comes to the appraisal, and then you get the mortgage application in the process to secure your mortgage, and then your real estate agent will send all the contracts to the title company. It's very important that you deal with the title company, because you never know what issues the property has. They will dig deep and get everything that you need. Then the home inspection. So it's a certified individual who goes in there and checks all the structural concerns and anything, notices any destruction, and it's also a means of knowing if the house value of what you're paying is good or not. The home inspection will also uncover the problems. And then there's a termite inspection. Something happened quite, I think it was last week. I toured a property, very beautiful property. And they had done 2 appraisals and 2 inspections on the property. So the seller's agent was telling us not to request for another inspection. So then we decided to request for the documents. Come to find out, the house had a serious termite issue. And so the termite issue was addressed the first time they did the appraisal, but then the second time they found the termites again. So then it means it wasn't solved. But so if you don't have somebody who knows what you're doing, what might happen is that you might go in and once the offer is accepted, it's accepted and go and have all these issues. So definitely work with somebody who knows what they're doing. So we went back in there and have submitted it for it to be inspected again for the third time.
All right, so Evelyn, I have a question.
Sure.
You do inspections and you find a whole lot of problems. Can you back out of the deal? What do I do as a buyer?
Absolutely, you can back out. Now, first thing, your agents must contact the seller and give them all the information. You need to appraise and find out how much it will cost. If it's a house you really want, we can ask the seller to reduce the rate or fix those issues. But if they're not willing to do that, please, we can easily back out.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The other one is the appraisal. The appraisal is actually to determine the value. Are you paying for what you're getting? Because sometimes we buy homes that are way above the value. Because of one or two upgrades that really doesn't have to change the value, people will just hype the prices. But then your mortgage company will require it. Before they will pay that money, they will require you to have that. The value is determined by looking at recent sales of properties in the area that is similar to yours and all other things. Finding the right home is very, very important. But one thing you also need to secure it is an insurance. After it's been approved, after everything is well with the inspection, let me say something about the inspection. Sometimes, depending on the property you're getting, there have to be other inspections like mold, raisin, other things. And these, if somebody who is not knowledgeable about this, they will just let you slide through it without digging deep, and then problems start coming once you move in. We're not here to have you do that. Another thing you would do is get insurance, and the lender will need that to calculate your mortgage. You need insurance that will cover a whole lot of things in the house. Sometimes you're able to negotiate with the seller, but it depends, it varies as to whether they will do it or not. But then for the plumbing issues, the electrical system, the range, all these things have to be evaluated, and you need insurance for the home. Escrow. I'll have Jima talk about escrow.
All right, so you've gotten pre-approved. We found you the perfect house. You've gotten your inspections done. You've gotten your termite inspection done. You've gotten your appraisal done. You're working with the lender to submit all your documents to really get the loan going. Because you've already gotten pre-approved, you don't have to start all over again. We just need you to do the mortgage application. What happens in between there? A lot of people do not know it. So there's a title company that acts or combine agents and bring buyers, sellers, and real estate agents together and the mortgage lender together. They also look at your title, insurance policies, files state closing, and also files all the paperwork. So that happens. So what they do that I like the most is they make sure you're not buying a property that has liens and judgments, and they will have to disclose everything to you. So before the title gets recorded in your name and everything happens, guess what? Everything should be paid off before we go to settlement. So now we're getting close to settlement, right? We're getting close to settlement. We've done everything we need to do. We're getting close to settlement. One thing that I always want to make sure you understand before Michelle takes over with the lending part is these are costs that you cannot avoid. One, if you buy with me, I'm going to make sure you do a home inspection. Okay, it's not an option with me. It's an option, but it's not an option with me. I have to make sure you do a home inspection because I am looking out for your good. You have to do a termite inspection. Appraisal comes in. If you have to do other tests, you have to take care of that. Now, that comes on average about $1,000, and that's some money that I always tell people: sit $1,000 on the side. When we get our offer accepted, we are taking care of all the other stuff that we need to do. So Michelle is here with us, and she is the lender, and I'm excited to hear about the lending aspect. What do I need? All the credit information. I saw a lot of questions. Do I need some type of credit score? So we are going to get all those answers, all those questions answered through Michelle. All right, so Michelle, take over.
Thank you, Jima, and thank you everyone for inviting me and allowing me to participate. Let me pull up my screen here. Hold on 1 second so I can share mine. Can you guys see my screen?
No, we see you.
No, okay, hold on 1 second. Bear with me.
All right, while Michelle is trying to pull her screen, for those of you who are on now with us, we are going through the process of buying a home. Jima has spoken extensively, Evelyn has spoken. Michelle, the one that will help with the loan process and your questions on financing, is trying to get her slides, her screen ready for us. And so if you're watching this video now, you want to go ahead. Hey, we got it.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Took me a minute. So first I want to start off by just simply discussing what happens when you come to me. So when you want to get pre-approved, as Jima and Evelyn mentioned, whether you want to purchase next month, next year, or even 1.5 to 2 years from now, it's never too early to get started with the process. You always want to know where you stand credit-wise. You always want to know what to expect as far as cash needed out of pocket, and you want to understand your monthly mortgage. So it's never too early. That way you can be more prepared when you are finally ready to purchase. So when you are turned over to me, when you're ready to become pre-approved, first thing we do is run credit. When we run credit, we're looking at not only credit scores, we're looking at credit history, we're looking at on-time payments, and the minimum score is going to vary, as they mentioned, as Jima and Evelyn mentioned, is going to vary based on the type of loan that you're looking to get. And we're going to go into the types of loans a little bit later. But that's what we do. We pull credit first. We pull all 3 credit bureaus. And the reason why we pull all 3 credit bureaus is because the loan, the mortgage process itself, is based on your middle score. So that middle score can be with Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian. It doesn't matter which bureau it's with. And it's not an average of the 3 scores. It's only that middle score, regardless of the credit bureau. Once we know your middle score, if you need some help increasing your score, that's something that we do help you with. We're able to do a credit analysis on the credit report. And what the credit analysis does, it breaks down exactly what you have to do from A to Z to increase your score, however many points you need it to be increased. And we'll go over that with you in detail as well. Once your credit score is where it needs to be and we're ready to go forward, the next step in the process is for us to collect what we call your income and your asset documents. And that's just things like your most recent pay stubs, W-2s, bank statements. We always need 2 months of bank statements. Once we have these items, we can determine how much of a house you qualify to purchase. We can also determine if you qualify for any first-time home buying programs. And I'll go into detail with the programs a little bit later too. Because what happens is the types of loans, FHA, conventional, VA, USDA, they all have their own specific guidelines. So when we have your income and asset documents, we can tell you if you fall within the guidelines for each of those individual loans. And then the first-time home buying programs, they have their own guidelines. So not only do we have to fall within the federal guidelines for the mortgage itself, we have to fall into the guidelines of the program. So you may or may not qualify for all programs out there. And there are some really great programs out here right now. You can get anywhere from $5,000 to help you with a down payment and closing costs up to $84,000 here in the DMV area, depending on where you're looking to purchase. So there are some really great programs. So let's go ahead and get started. So types of mortgages, I just briefly discussed that. That's FHA, conventional, VA, USDA. So VA is only for veterans. So you have to be an actual veteran in order to qualify for veterans. USDA, you can obtain a USDA loan, which is a 100% loan, but it has to be in a rural area. So we're talking like Calvert County, some parts of Charles County, not Waldorf though, not the city limits of Waldorf, but we're talking those counties that are further out there in Maryland that will qualify for USDA, which is 100% financing. Most people are going to qualify for FHA or conventional. And I'm going to go into a little bit further detail with FHA and conventional. So with FHA, minimum down payment for FHA is 3.5%. FHA is much more lenient than conventional. So prior to COVID-19, FHA only required a 580 minimum credit score. It will go back there as we open up more and we get back to normal. We will go back to the 580 score. Right now, you have to have a 640 for FHA or conventional, but this is just temporary. It's a temporary minimum score, 640. And again, remember, if you're not there, we can help you get there. So FHA is much more lenient. So if you have some collections or if you had some issues in the past with your credit and your credit may be just a little marginal, FHA is just going to make more sense for you. But when we do,
For those who don't understand your FHA terminology, can you just make it easy for them? And then with the conventional, those who are not very literate in these areas, can you do that?
Okay. So basically, FHA is a government-backed loan, and then conventional is a more stringent loan. So like I said, most people are going to qualify for either FHA or conventional, or possibly both. But when we do the pre-approval process, we go into both of these types of loans in great detail with you so that you can see. I typically show you in a spreadsheet the FHA option versus the conventional option, and you can see the numbers side by side, and we do go into the both options in great detail so that we can weigh the pros and the cons, and you can decide what's best for you and your family when it's that time for you. FHA, it's a little bit higher with out of pocket because the down payment is higher. So FHA down payment is 3.5%, conventional down payment is 3%. Both programs you can use, both loan types, you can use first-time home buying programs. So there's no restriction there. With conventional right now, as I mentioned, both of them have a minimum score of 640, but conventional is much more stringent. If you have some previous collections within the past 2 years, or if you had any judgments or foreclosure, anything like that, conventional is going to be much more difficult for you to obtain versus FHA. With collections, you can have collections, you can have foreclosures, you can have judgments, you can have all types of different delinquencies in the past. In FHA, you could still get that type of loan today.
Michelle, I have a question. So someone
Sure.
is asking, if you do a 0% down, does that affect payment?
I'm sorry, Jima, you broke up a little bit. The 0% down?
If you do 0% down, how does that impact your monthly payment?
Of course, it's going to impact a little bit, mainly because you're financing more. You're financing 100% versus you financing 97% of the sales price or 96.5% of the sales price. And I know I'm giving you a lot of percentages and a lot of numbers, but when we talk one-on-one, or if you want to talk one-on-one, I can break these things down a little bit further for you. But you will have a slightly higher payment. So to put that in perspective, for every $1,000 that you finance, it's roughly $6 per month, if that makes sense. Okay? So if we're dealing with a $100,000 loan and you have a 3% down payment, that's $3,000 that you're putting down. So you're financing 97%, right? So a 97% loan versus a 100% loan, that's a $3,000 difference. So that's an $18 per month difference. Does that make sense?
That is the question. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's talk about the monthly payment. So when you're calculating, or when we calculate your monthly payment, we're calculating the actual principal and interest, which is the figure that you're paying back to the bank for the money that you're borrowing from the bank. It's also going to include your property taxes. In this area, you pay property taxes twice per year. And you're calculating your homeowner's insurance, which is paid once per year. And then it's also your mortgage insurance or your private mortgage insurance. So the property taxes, the homeowner's insurance, and the PMI, these all go into what we call an escrow account. An escrow account is simply a separate account. It's a 0% interest-bearing account where this money sits so that when these bills come due once a year or twice a year, we, the mortgage company, pay these bills on your behalf so you do not have to worry about them. Okay? Any questions on that one, Jima or Evelyn?
No, that nailed it. Thank you.
Not yet.
Oh, we're good.
Not yet? Okay. Okay. So here, it just says here that for every $1,000, the monthly payment impact is $6 per month, which we just discussed. Property taxes on the house. So the county that you're purchasing in has an impact on the property taxes. Some counties' property taxes are much higher than others. And some people think that's not really a big deal, but if you're payment conscious, it can be a huge deal. So in this example right here, we have house A and house B. And just for numbers' sake, we're listing a $100,000 house, right? So house A has a $2,400 per year property tax bill. House B has a $4,800 property tax bill. That's a $200 difference per month in a mortgage payment, which can be huge for some people. So that's something that we have to be aware of as well. So when I'm pre-approving you, I'm always pre-approving you with worst case scenario numbers. And when we talk one-on-one, if we do get the opportunity to speak one-on-one, I will go into this in a little bit more detail. Now let's talk about some of the programs. There are several programs out here right now. We have federal programs, we have state programs, we have county programs, as Evelyn mentioned. So one of the biggest programs right now in Maryland is called the Maryland Mortgage Program, MMP for short. So this Maryland Mortgage Program has several different programs under its umbrella. It has about 8 or 9 different programs under its umbrella. It has 0% deferred loan programs. It has grant programs. It has what's called a Smart Buy program. That's where the state of Maryland, on the Smart Buy program, if you buy a house anywhere in the state of Maryland, the state of Maryland will pay off your student loans up to $40,000, plus give you $5,000 to use towards your down payment, just for using their program and purchasing in the state of Maryland.
Wait,
they have another program that will
you repeat that again?
That's too exciting. Please don't go too fast.
One of the programs under the Maryland Mortgage Program, which is a huge program, is the Smart Buy program. You'll see it here listed on the slide. This program will give you up to $40,000 to pay off your student loans. Plus, it will give you $5,000 to use towards your down payment when purchasing a home anywhere in the state of Maryland. Okay? There are specific guidelines that go along with that, so not everyone will fit into the guidelines, but it is an awesome program for those that qualify for the program. So when you go to closing on this program, when you go to closing and you sign your paperwork with the title company, when you walk away from that table, you have not only the keys to your house, but you now have 0 student loan debt, and you have $5,000 from the state of Maryland, which is awesome. So besides the Smart Buy program, they have a 3% program that will give you 3% of your sales price. So if you're buying a $300,000 house, the state of Maryland will give you $9,000 to use towards your down payment and closing costs. They have a 4% program. Same $300,000 house, the state of Maryland will give you $12,000 to use towards your down payment and your closing costs. There is a federal program out there, which is not listed here on the slide. There's a federal program out here. It's a temporary program. It's called Federal Home Loan Bank. It comes out every January of every year, and it's out here until they run out of money. So typically they run out of money around the August, September timeframe. So what this program does, if you are a teacher, firefighter, police officer, nurse, anything is considered in the service industry. Now, you do not have to be an actual teacher, firefighter, or police officer, but if you work for these organizations, the Federal Home Loan Bank will give you free $7,500 to use towards down payment and or closing costs. okay? And I want to go back and reiterate that with the Maryland Mortgage Program, they never run out of money. They have money. I've been doing this. I've been in the business for over 17 years. They've been around longer than me. So they always have money. There's always money for first-time home buyers. And then as Evelyn mentioned, there's different county programs. So depending on the county you're searching in, there's programs there. There's programs in Prince George's County given by the county. There's Montgomery County programs, Howard County programs, Anne Arundel, Baltimore City, DC, of course. We didn't touch on DC and Virginia, but they have some awesome programs as well. So wherever you're looking to purchase in the DMV, there are programs. And what's good also about Maryland and DC, you do not have to be a first-time home buyer to take advantage of some of these programs. Some of them are strictly for first-time home buyers, but there are some that can be used for non-first-time home buyers, which is great. So that's pretty much it for me. Are there any particular questions or specific questions?
Yes, Michelle, I have one here. He says,
Sure.
I'm an entrepreneur, so I don't have a conventional job. What do you need from me?
Okay. 2 years of tax returns. So instead of pay stubs, we need 2 years of tax returns, and we use the net income, not gross income, but net income, and we average it out over a 2-year period. Okay.
Somebody's asking a question from Fred. He says the MMP, what makes one qualify for this program? What are the qualifications for the MMP?
So for the MMP, it depends on how many people are in the household. 640 minimum credit score. For a 1 to 2 person household, you cannot exceed $145,000 in income. For 3 person plus, you cannot exceed $163,000 in income, but that's it. The only qualification. Okay, and let me also, let me touch on this really quick. A lot of people will ask, well, how long does it take to become pre-approved? To run credit takes 10 to 15 minutes max. Once we have your documents, within 24 to 48 hours, we're back in touch with you discussing all of your different loan options, and we can issue a pre-approval after we have that discussion. So typically within 2 days, you can have a full pre-approval.
I'm sure Jima has more questions from online. Jima and Evelyn.
Someone is asking, can I use MMP for an investment property?
No, unfortunately not. It has to be a primary. That would be nice.
I know.
All right. There's somebody asking for all of you. So
All right.
somebody's asking a question about, are there any programs for investors? I think we have to have another program, another whole thing for investment property, so you can get a chance to really talk about that also.
Yeah,
I want to focus more now on people's primary, residence. So you guys, if you can, give us another time, we can bring you back to talk about investment properties.
Definitely. There are some really great programs out there for investors.
All right.
Jima, I think there are more questions, so go ahead.
Someone also asked, who pays for the appraisal and the inspection? So the appraisal and the inspection is paid by the buyer, okay? And if you work with a great agent, there are other ways of you get that money back, right? So when we do those inspections and all those tests, we are going to find something. There's no such thing as 100% perfect house. We are going to find some stuff. We are going to find issues, and that's when a great agent negotiates on your behalf to get that money that you paid back, right?
There are more questions here. Let me see. Do you have to have a specific credit score? The guy is asking, do I need a specific credit score to be able to get a loan? And let me add a follow-up. So what if the credit score is not up to maybe what you want or what the bank wants? Is there something that can be done about it to fix it?
Yes. So prior to COVID-19, prior to coronavirus, the minimum score was 580. Right now, because of the bank's fear that anything below a 640 credit score is just too risky right now, 640 is the minimum score. But once we get back to normal, it will go back down to the 580. So let's say you want to purchase now and you're not quite at a 640. What we do after we run the credit report, we run a credit analysis on the credit report. The credit analysis will break down exactly what a person has to do from A to Z to increase their score by however many points we're trying to get.
All right, now to Jima and Evelyn. Do I need an agent for a brand new building?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that question. And now think about it. If you go to a builder, the representative over there is working for the builder, right? So who are they working for? The builder's interest. So everything that they write on paper for you to sign is in the builder's interest. Now, if you work with an agent to the builder, you do not pay the agent the commission. The builder pays the commission, right? So you have nothing to lose working with an agent through the building process. Now, the agent negotiates on your behalf, looks at the contract, makes sure that there's nothing really in the contract that wouldn't help you in the future. So yes, absolutely. Please do not go to those new builds without an agent. Call an agent, make sure they take over, make sure they look over the contracts, make sure they take a walk through the whole house before you sign anything.
All right, so if you just join us online, we have these three amazing people here who are walking us through the process of buying a home. And I want you to also know that they are ready to answer your questions here and even outside of this place. And they are ready to offer you any kind of help that you need in the purchase of a home. Jima and Evelyn are very good realtors. Michelle is a loan officer. And so the team is ready just for you. So by the time we finish, they will give you the information and everything and how to reach out to them. But I have a question to maybe all of you or to Michelle. What is the maximum property price allowed under the programs that were mentioned?
That depends. That's a great question. That depends on the county you're purchasing in. So PG County, Prince George's County, Montgomery County have a higher sales price allowed than all of the other counties in the state. So it can range anywhere from over 600,000 to down to 510,000. So it just depends on the county that you're going to purchase.
All right. What is the best percentage for down payment? And I want Jima and Evelyn to be also going through the questions. A lot of questions, so I may miss some of them. So when you catch it, you can just ask.
Okay.
If it concerns the realtors, they can answer. If it concerns Michelle can go ahead. So what is the best percentage for down payment?
Down payment for a first-time home buyer is going to range anywhere from 3 to 3.5% of the sales price, depending on the type of financing that person is going to get. What I did not mention earlier when we talked about the programs too, if someone does not fit into the box of one of the programs, there's another program out there, or I should say loan out there. So you can get a second loan for the down payment if necessary.
Michelle, I have a question for you, but before that, I want to touch you. Do you need a realtor for the new development? And I'll say yes. Sometimes the realtors know of programs and also deals that they can get out of the seller. We need to pull it out. They will never introduce you to it. They might throw in one or two things and you think you're getting the best deal, but no, you definitely want to be represented. Here's a question to you, Michelle. If your current job pays better than what you earned 2 years ago, but have not yet filed taxes on the new job, will they accept my current pay stub to prove my income?
Yes. What we need, first of all, if we're using a program, if we're not using a program, we do not need tax returns. Tax returns never come into play unless you're using a program. And when we qualify someone, we're only needing 30 days of pay stubs. So yes, we do factor in past income for the past 2 years. We just want to see that the person was full-time employed for the past 2 years, but we're only concerned with the most recent 30 days of pay. And that's how we qualify.
Okay, another question. What qualifies one to get MD loan program? And also, can one qualify for more than one program?
It depends on the program. So some programs allow you to stack, what we call stack the programs. So it depends on the program. Normally, Maryland mortgage program does not allow you to stack unless you're purchasing in Baltimore City. It's an exception for Baltimore City, and they have several programs that you can stack. I've had people get up to $20,000 in Baltimore City stacking several different programs. But typically for Prince George's County, Montgomery County, normally they do not allow you to stack.
Well, I think there's a question that somebody asked. The person asked a question about if a house is costing $300,000 and I'm sorry, $300,000 and they have $300,000 and they have been qualified for $350,000. They're asking that if there is work to be done on the property, would they be able to access all the $350,000 at the closing table?
Yes. So that's called a renovation loan. Okay. So with a renovation loan, you have your base loan amount plus your renovation amount combined together to make one loan. With the renovation loan, though, you are not allowed to use any of the programs, or I should say the programs do not work with renovation loans. So if you choose to do a renovation loan, you have to be prepared to have the down payment and closing costs out of pocket.
All right, I have one question. What determines the county property taxes? I believe Dominic asked.
Yeah, and it says that he believes that PG County property taxes are very high. So
and Montgomery, but PG is higher. What they do, the counties do an assessment. Prince George's in particular, they do an assessment on every property every 3 years. And they there's a county tax rate. So based on the county tax rate, based on the assessment, they calculate how much your property taxes are. So your property taxes will change basically every 3 years.
This from me to all of you. Let's say I want to buy a house and I have about 60 days and I really am in an apartment and I want to buy like a condo. Now, realtors, loan officer, can you put me into a new my condo or my house in 60 days?
Yes.
And tell me how you do that for me.
So let me answer that question. And that's why we have Michelle here as well. So the loan process, Michelle, what's your timeline on the loan process? And then I can go for the timeline looking for the house.
Typically within 30 days. So once you have a ratified contract, which I know you'll speak on that, once you have a ratified contract, and I have a copy of that ratified contract, you're going to closing. You're meeting with that title attorney within 30 days, signing your final papers and receiving your keys within 30 days.
All right.
With or without a program.
Great. So Michelle takes 30 days. And so once you come to me, we could take 1 day to find a house. Right. So everything depends on the buyer, right? Depends on how many houses we see. It depends on what your availability will be. If you can only look for a house once every 2 weeks, that drags the whole process, right? So we could find a house today, tomorrow. It probably take, I usually give it about 15 days. And then once we find a house, we write a contract, we get a ratified contract, Michelle takes over. And so you could, on average, if you are ready to go, credit good, everything ready to go, it will probably take you about 45 days on average.
Allison says, I live in Maryland, Montgomery County, to be precise. I'm looking to purchase a second home. Would it be wise to sell my first townhouse or rent it out?
Thank you. Let me take this. So for me, I would say we'll have to determine the value of the house. First of all, find out how much you paid when you purchase the house and determine if you are really paying high or you are in between or paying very low. If you're low and you're okay, then you're good to, I would say, rent it out as an investment property and buy a new one. But if you paid high at that time, then you're better off selling it and taking your money out.
Michelle, there's a question here that says, what's this question? Says, how long is a pre-approval good for?
4 months.
Okay.
4 months. And then if the pre-approval expires, it's not a big deal. The only thing we have to do is run a new credit report to make sure nothing has changed. And then we collect updated pay stubs and updated bank statements to reissue the pre-approval.
Okay.
Harriet also asks, would it be wise to rent but buy if you have good tenants? All depends on you, Harriet, and also the loan. If you're looking to buy a property and you can hold that property and qualify for the other property with that. Yes, I'm a big fan of investments. It depends on your what's going on with the renter. It depends on what's been happening. So yes, if you can qualify for both, I'm a huge fan of having a lot of investment properties, and that depends all on you as well too.
To the realtors. If I'm going to buy a house, somebody's going to buy a house. What are some of the things they have to factor in before they choose a particular location, besides the cost of the house? Because as a pastor, you've had people, in the past have purchased homes and they discover that where they are living is far from their work. They complain about other things. So what are some of the basic things that people have to consider in choosing location? I know you guys say real estate is location, location, location.
Thank you. I'll start with this one. First of all, you might want to consider the size of the family that you're moving with. Are you single? Are you married? And then do you have kids? One major thing also is the neighborhood. You need to consider the neighborhood, your kids. What school do you want them to go? We need to really check the school grades, the school wherever they rank. And people sometimes just want to move into a county and think, oh, I just want this county, or I just want this area. There are things that are not so close proximity to anything. There's some areas that are not of proximity to anything. And so you end up moving your family and you realize that, oh my God, I should have rather been in this area. So two things you really need to consider is the neighborhood, and check the crimes in the neighborhood. You can do that as well. You can go online and check it, or we can actually assist with it, but we cannot disclose. There are things we cannot really disclose to you. You would have to investigate it yourself. And then the type of home you're looking for. I had someone looking for a condo and the person kept sending me some condos listings. The condo fees, HOA fees, were so high. There was one condo that had $329 every month on top of your mortgage. And then for a year, you're paying $422 annually, also on top of your mortgage. And then it has, I think it was water fee for $325 for the year. Calculate this and add to your mortgage on top of your mortgage. This is a lot. You're adding about $600 on top of your mortgage. So also consider the area. If they have HOA fees and it is high, please refrain from it, unless you have the money to do that. But I would advise you not to do that.
All right. Someone asked, do you assist with strip malls? Yes, we are a brokerage company that works with investment properties, everything you could think about, commercial. So yes, we have our numbers. We'll be ready, available for you. We can talk offline about all those other strip malls and other stuff.
Michelle, there's a question here for you. Can VA loans be used for second homes?
Yes, VA, yes. They cannot be used for investment properties, but you can turn a current primary home into an investment home and use your VA again to purchase another primary home.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else this wonderful realtors and loan officer want us to know in the process? I think there are more questions here. If a partner is on a deed, but not the loan, are you considered first-time homeowner when you decide to buy in their name? So basically, let me give myself an example. Say we buy a home and I own the loan. My wife is only on the deed, and my wife now wants to buy a home. Will she be considered a first-time home buyer?
No, unfortunately. No, because her name is on a deed, so she's technically a homeowner.
Okay, so
she's not a first-time home buyer.
What if they decide to remove her name off the deed?
Well, remember, well, if her name is off the deed, there are some programs that she can qualify for. She's still not considered a first-time home buyer. Your name has to be removed from a deed for a minimum of 3 years before you're considered technically a first-time home buyer again.
But I'm also sure that even for a first-time home buyer, there are things like it has to be your primary residence.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes,
so either
definitely.
way, it's going to be tough to be on a deed or stay in a home somewhere and say you're buying a second home. You have to be honest and say you have to be a place you're going to be staying.
Yes. Yes.
Michelle, there's a question here. If I foreclosed on a home 5 years ago, do I qualify to receive another loan for a home?
Yes. Yes. There's a 3-year waiting period for FHA and a 4-year waiting period for conventional. So yes.
So Garen says, okay, great. Says, so it means I don't have to put my children on my deed?
No.
Okay. All right. That's a good one. I have a question here from Akov. I had a home 10 years ago, but sold it. I want to buy now. Can I be considered first-time home buyer?
Definitely yes. Yes, because remember, 3 years minimum with your name not being on a deed, you are now a first-time home buyer again.
Okay, somebody's asking again. On average, what's the cost for pre-approval services?
$0. Does not cost anything to get pre-approved.
Good. Good.
Nope.
Good. Do you guys have more questions because they're just flying in? I'm not able to keep up with the questions. If you have a house with conventional loan and mortgage insurance, how long do you have to pay for the mortgage insurance?
You pay mortgage insurance, this is only for conventional, until you have either more than 20% of equity in the house or you've lived in the house for 10 years. So in either of those situations, whichever one happens first, mortgage insurance goes away.
Oh, this is good.
If you have an FHA loan, FHA, you have mortgage insurance for the life of the loan. So if you keep that loan for 30 years, you're paying mortgage insurance for 30 years. So what I always tell people, if we can only qualify you today for FHA, take the FHA loan because it makes more sense. But once you know you have 20% of equity in the house, refinance into a conventional loan to get rid of the mortgage insurance.
So it means that if you want to stop paying the mortgage insurance, you actually shouldn't be taking loan on your equity yet.
Yes.
Try and at least have that 20% in there and then, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Never knew about this.
So Michelle,
Uh-huh.
if you are going through the process of buying and you do not have 20% down payment to get the conventional, you want to get rid of the PMI, can you do that?
You can do that. There's several different ways that you can get rid of, well, technically you're not getting rid of PMI, you're getting rid of monthly PMI. So anytime you do not have 20% down payment, which most of us do not have 20% to put down on a house, and even if we do, most people don't want to spend that much cash on buying a house. You're going to pay some sort of mortgage insurance when you do not put 20% down. So you may pay it monthly, you can pay it up front in cash, and then sometimes you can roll it into the loan. And this is only with conventional financing that you have these options, not with FHA. With FHA, you are going to pay monthly, plus you're going to pay upfront mortgage insurance for the 30-year period.
Realtors, is it better to buy a house single or married? Even if you're married, which is the option? If one person qualifies for, do you have to buy together or just buy, single? I'm trying to imagine what the person is trying to say. Like, okay, if you're married and I buy, one person buys it, then the other person can buy it, something.
Yes. So I always ask, if you can qualify for it by yourself. Yes, because now down the line, if your significant other wants to also get into investment properties, that income is freed up, right? So yes, if you can do it by yourself, absolutely try and do that.
Question from Ruth.
Okay.
Has COVID-19 caused the suspension of programs like down payment or closing costs?
Absolutely not. No.
Cool.
Michelle, can I use an inheritance for deposits?
Yes. Yes. As long as we can document funds, you can get a gift from family members or a close friend to help you with down payment and closing costs. You can use an inheritance. I mean, wherever you want to get the money, you can use that money as long as we can document where the money came from.
All right, another question here from Amelia. It says, when you are approved for a loan, who pays for the closing cost? And what's the average closing cost? Or is the closing cost part of the down payment?
Down payment and closing costs, two separate things. So down payment is anywhere from 3 to 3.5% of the sales price. Closing costs on average in our area, we have one of the highest closing cost rates in the country, surprise, surprise. But closing costs can range anywhere from 4.5% to 5% of the sales price right now on average. So your realtors, the great negotiators that they are, they're going to negotiate the seller paying as much of the closing costs as possible. On average, sellers are paying anywhere from 2 to 3% of the closing costs if they're able to do so. Some sellers are not, they financially, they cannot do that. So it just depends on the individual house, the specific circumstances dealing with the seller as to how much your realtor is going to be able to negotiate the seller paying on your behalf.
Michelle, people are on you today.
I know.
How do you qualify for a second mortgage?
How do you qualify for a second mortgage? A second home or second mortgage?
I think second home, the person is trying to say.
Okay. If it's a second home, it really depends on what you're doing with that first home. If you're living in a home today, you're going to rent out that house and purchase the next home. We can count a portion of the rental income for the current house to offset that mortgage to help you qualify for the second home. I hope that makes sense.
I think you guys really have to come back. We have to do this thing on investment property because people are itching.
One thing that I want to chip in,
Yeah.
someone asked, has COVID impacted down payment assistance programs? Michelle said no. Now, what COVID has impacted, I'll tell you, it's a positive way. Impacted interest rate, okay? So
Yes.
interest rate, now, one of Rep Samuels he talked about was, taking advantage of the bad situation and making it, a good one, right? Now, interest rate is at the record low. I've never seen interest rate this low. 2.25%. I mean, come on, 2.25%.
I know.
You cannot
For a 30-year fix.
This
Yeah.
is COVID costs. It's a downside between the stock market and the interest rate. So if stock markets is low, interest rate drops, right? And guess what? When things start going back to normal and everything goes normal, stock markets will go back up and interest rate will potentially go up, right? So take advantage of the situation.
So buy a home now.
Buy it now.
Right.
Buy it as your primary residence. Buy it as an investment property. Buy now.
It's interesting. Inventory is so low. Now homes are being sold within 3-4 days on the market.
Oh, wow.
And it's so scary.
There's a question here though. Is it smart to buy a home cash or financed? Also, does paying cash raise an unnecessary red flag? Do we get a question?
Jima or Evelyn, you wanna answer that one?
Yeah, so it depends, right? So someone, if you're looking to retire and you have that cash and don't want to bear all the responsibility, yes, you could definitely use the cash and get rid of it. Now you got to think about it. If you purchase a home through a mortgage, you are paying interest. Okay, can you use that funds to get an investment somewhere to make more money? Right? It varies. So you can make that decision yourself and say, look, I can use that $100,000 towards this, and I can make this amount of money monthly, or I may spend $100,000 just traveling, so I can put it, towards my my mortgage. All right. So it depends and it varies on what situation you are in.
All right. There's a question here first question, Michelle, do you work with rental properties? I don't understand that.
I personally do not work with rental properties, but Jima or Evelyn might work with rental properties.
Oh, I feel like the question probably meant, do you assist with those who want to like get an investment property to rent?
Oh, definitely, yes, yes.
Yeah, but also
Yeah.
Jima and Evelyn, also for those who want to rent, they also have properties that they rent out, that you don't have to go through your traditional, apartment thing. So you can also talk to them. But there's a question here: in these uncertain times where folks are losing their jobs, are there any programs other than forbearance that mortgage companies are offering to reduce payments on the life of a loan? So basically, you already have the loan. Are there any programs that can help to,
Well, if you're already in a mortgage, you would have to reach out to your particular mortgage company, because every company is doing something different right now during COVID-19. So that's a little difficult to answer because it varies. I mean, it's varying from both ends of the spectrum as to who's doing what.
Do you want to talk about if anybody can take advantage and refinance their home right now? Is that a good thing to
Oh my goodness.
Because I heard
Jima
Evelyn talking about very low interest rate. If
yes,
you qualify,
yes.
it's good to take advantage now.
Yes, I just shared with Jima the other day. I've been so busy lately these past, month and a half or so since we've been in this COVID-19 situation. Interest rates have just dropped dramatically. Just this week alone, I have locked FHA refinances and purchases at 2.25%, which is unheard of. As I mentioned before, I've been in this business for 17 years. I've never seen 30-year fixed rates in the twos, never. I've seen 15-year, but not 30-year fixed interest rates. So FHA has been at 2.25%. Conventional has been at 2.625, 2.75. VA has been at 2.5. These are amazing interest rates. So if you are currently in a mortgage and you are considering refinancing, even if you're not considering refinancing, why not refinance to get the lower interest rate, to lower your monthly payment, to free some cash to do some other things with?
There's 1,001 questions flying in. So you
Yeah.
guys
I have one for you, Michelle. He says, is it better to go through a bank or just go to a loan officer for a loan?
It just really depends. It depends on who can, because I actually work for a bank. I work for Meridian Bank. My specific office is in Columbia, but I can lend nationwide, not just in the DMV, but I can lend nationwide. So it really is about what you're looking for, what your goals are with your upcoming purchase, as to who's offering the better products and services for you.
All right.
But typically the banks, typically the banks do have the lower interest rates.
Realtors, is it smart to buy a land and build or just buy a house?
That is a very good question. How do I answer that? Now, if you think the cost will be cheaper to buy the land, and again, if you work with a good agent, they can assist you with the construction company that can give
sorry, let me add. And it's asking, is the process the same? If you're buying a land, is the process the same as it's like purchasing an already existing house?
Michelle, can you help with the loan process?
Yes, I can definitely. Yeah. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be the same. But initially, what you're doing, it's called a construction to permanent loan. So what you're doing, you're buying the land and then you're financing the construction on the land. So that type of loan can be slightly more expensive than just purchasing either a new construction being built by a builder or a home that currently exists. So it can cost you a little bit more money out of pocket as well as on the interest rate, doing it that way.
All right, there are so many questions coming in. I think we have to bring this to an end, and I want people to call you.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of questions. I mean, if you guys can see, it's like 1,001 questions coming in. So you want to, again, talk about what you do, how they can get hold of you right now. If somebody want to talk to you like right now, how can they get hold of you? And what I'm going to say is that They are all on standby now to receive your phone calls, emails, WhatsApp messages, text messages, and respond to you like right now, right now, right now, right now. So they are going to give you their personal details, and then you can start shooting them your text messages right now. Jima, you're on mute.
Jima.
Hey, I will start off here. So the next step, basically is talking to one of us, Michelle, Evelyn, to walk you through the process, hold your hands, give you the courage, give you all the tools, and get you through the process. And our phone numbers are up here: 240-706-5092 is my cell, and I have Evelyn 703-981-6186. If you call one of us, we are more than glad to, we are a team, we work together, and we would be more than glad to help you. So we work with renters, we work with commercial, we are a full brokerage team.
Just got into luxury too. Please don't forget that.
Yes. And again, if you follow me on Instagram, all we sell is luxury homes, right? So I'm the luxury agent. So yeah, we do sell all the luxury homes, and we make every home luxury for you. All right. So yes, reach us, and we have our calendars cleared today just for this purpose, to help and talk and do one-on-one Zoom, face to face, 6 feet apart, and help you through that process.
Evelyn, anything you want to say?
I just want to say thank you for joining us. By the time to initiate the loan is now, as indicated earlier, notwithstanding when you want to do it. As I said, if it's 12 months down the line, and don't think about your credit. Let Michelle do the legwork for you. When she starts, then we can take over. We can actually work through the process to correct certain things on the credit and get it fixed and own a home, please. We live in this country. Our kids go to school in this country. Give them the sense of pride to have their own home and space, and just decorate it the way you want to. It's a dream I want you to have. Thank you for attending.
Yes, Michelle.
Okay, let me give you my information.
Michelle is getting her information on the screen.
Yes.
But it's been very exciting having Jima and Evelyn and Michelle. I've certainly learned a lot of stuff. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, so I want to piggyback a little bit on what Evelyn just said real quick. My contact information is there. The best way to reach me is my cell phone number or my email. You can call me or you can text me, whatever's easier for you. We're not in the office right now. We're still closed because of COVID-19. So my cell phone is always the best way to reach me, which is 443-790-9482. What I do want to say is that I've seen it all. So never be hesitant to call to ask questions or to have your credit run. Never be embarrassed by your credit. I've seen people with 400 credit scores, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have seen people with no credit scores. And I always advise, never try to fix your credit on your own. Always reach out to a professional to help you out, because we can help guide you on what to do, what not to do if you need some credit repair or some credit restoration. So let us be the one to guide you before you make mistakes and possibly worsen your credit score versus increasing your credit score.
Well, it's been amazing, Jima, Evelyn, Michelle. And like I said, we can't wait to have you to come and talk about investment property. I mean,
yes.
I can tell that people were shooting questions, but we can't go there. Today is first-time home buyers. So we'll work with you. We'll have you to come. We will love it for you to come back again to just come and do this for us to help our people. But please, everybody watching, you and your family and your friends, these are the people you should reach out to. So call them now. Don't wait tomorrow. Like, call them now, and start your discussion.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining us. We love you. We appreciate you, and we look forward to these people here helping you to buy your dream home. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.